Welcome to your final lesson in this series, Thriving and Leading as Servant Leaders. The title of this last lesson is Crab or Lifter. I am your host, Gardenia T. Bullock. So let's begin. I remember one Saturday afternoon when my brother and I spent hours watching a bucket of crabs. We were consumed by our excitement as we watched the crabs trying to reach the top of the bucket. It looked as if one crab might make it when it was pulled down by a team of crabs. Not one of the crabs reached the top before it was time for my grandfather to delight himself on what was going to be his evening meal. Needless to say, my grandmother took this as a teachable moment for my brother and me. She expertly explained that the crabs were more interested in pulling each other down than rising up together. As a result, she said, no crab reached the top. Crabs in a bucket is a metaphoric phrase attributing a person or people stopping each other from bettering themselves, often pulling themselves down at the same time. It is a figurative speech referring to the tendency of multiple crabs in a bucket to sabotage each other's escape. Crab mentality, also known as crab theory, crabs in a bucket, a barrel, a basket, or a pot. The mentality of the crab bucket effect is a way of thinking best by the phrase, if I can't have it, neither can you. The metaphor is derived from a pattern of behavior noted in crabs when they are trapped in a bucket. The metaphor is derived from a pattern that if I am trapped in the bucket, then I want you to stay trapped with me. Well, any one of the crabs could have escaped with the assistance of the others, and in doing so, perhaps could have saved all, ensuring that the group was successful. But instead, the crab mentality suggests the demise of the collective body. Everyone must suffer. To ensure the group's demise, well, while any one of the crabs could have gotten out, we want to ensure, or she or he wants to ensure, while any person could rise to the top. No, the crab mentality suggests that I must undermine all. It is about collective demise. Self-serving leadership operates that way. It has the crab mentality. A selfish, self-serving attitude generates a feeling of envy and competitiveness towards others. It is meant to inflict harm, ensure unsuccess, and gain some expression of satisfaction or a type of superiority over others, particularly one's peers. On the other hand, the person who desires to be a lifter, early on we learned as children the difference of the crab mentality and that of a lifter. In fact, we were told if one of us was in trouble, then all of us were in trouble. So we had to collectively work together many times to ensure that one stayed out of trouble so that all of us are in good standing with mom and dad. So early on, we learned as children how lifting each other up was beneficial. Whether we were engaged in a neighborhood baseball game, a spirited fight, or climbing a tree, we could be victorious if we worked as a team. My brother understood my physical limitations when it came to sports and such things. He was the one who would give me a boost when I climbed the trees. He was the one who would stand up for me against a perceived enemy. He lifted me up when I felt challenged. The lifter is one that everyone can appreciate if you understand the mentality of teaming together for success. Now, everyone needs somebody in their corner. Each of us has to decide how we live and minister. Whether you believe or don't believe in God, there is a spiritual side that must be assessed. Are you serving as a crab or a lifter of men? In Genesis 50, 1 through 26, the story of Joseph is an example of one who could have taken the position of a crab. Wrong was done toward him by the very ones who loved him. Instead, he chose to be a lifter of men. If you don't know the story, read the story. Again, are you a lifter? One of the most important ministries that anyone can be a part of in the kingdom is the helps ministry. Helps means rendering practical aid and support. In 1 Corinthians 12 and 28, this is the scripture that reads as such. And God has set some in the church, first apostles, secondary prophets, thirdly teachers, after that miracles, then gifts of healings, helps, governments, diversities of tongues. The helps ministry, coming to the aid, practical aid and support. Can anyone be in the helps ministry? We should all be a part of the helps ministry. Again, the purpose is to aid in carrying out the vision. The practical hands that are set to the task. The practical senses. Disciples aided Jesus' ministry. The early apostles in the establishment of the church. aided. Paul aided Timothy and others in ministry. Women prophets and helpers aided in carrying out the vision. Family members aid in carrying out the vision. Moses and armor bearers in Aaron and in Hur. Moses had his armor bearers as Aaron and Hur, who helped carry out the vision. David had men and wives who supported the vision of God. The helps ministry, the practical hands are a gift of serving. The practical people that come to aid. Ecclesiastes 4:9 says, 2 are better than 1, because they have a good reward for their labor. For if they fall, one will lift up his companion. But woe to him who is alone when he falls, for he has no one to help him up. Practical and helps ministry. The helps ministry. The lifter brings aid and relief to not only an individual, but a group. So how do you carry out the vision in the areas of the family, church, or the community? Simple to think about. Simple in simplicity. Simple in the plan of God. Are you a crab or are you a lifter? Only you can truly answer that question. But the fruits of your spirit will bear you out. I hope you have enjoyed the series, Thriving and Leading as Servant Leaders. I pray that you will teach, learn, and share, because sharing is a sign of caring.